Hello and welcome to Outro, the show about shows, right here on the writer Albert Lanier channel. I, of course, am the writer Albert Lanier, here with another edition of the show about shows, the show dealing with shows, the show that shows you all about shows, or some to some degree about shows. Outro. So, in this episode, I talk about my return to the show Positivity is the Way to Go. It's a YouTube show, and you can find it on the Dion Davis channel on YouTube. And that was an interesting. Um, and so, in the show to talk about the NFL, as I, of course, am a analyst, I do a segment on a show called The Writer Report based in California, um, where I analyze the week in the NFL, games in the NFL. And so I talked about the NFL previously on Positivity is the Way to Go. And because Dion Davis, the host, is into football. Um, and I did so again. We didn't just talk NFL, but we also talked about college football slightly. I don't follow college football, but we talked a little about the playoff system. And, and the point that I made about that, I'm sure you can check it out by going to Positivity is the Way to Go on the Dion Davis channel on YouTube. But the point I made, one of the points I made anyway, was that, you know, this for years people have been complaining about playoffs not existing in college football. And finally, when you get a chance to actually have a college playoff structure, it's still the same controversy. X team didn't get in. Y team did get in. Look at X team's wins and losses compared to Y team's wins and losses. Look at the opponents they played. Yada, yada, yada. Everyone's still griping and bitching and moaning. And so that I think is a huge problem when it comes to the college playoff system. Again, I don't follow college playoffs and I don't follow college football. I don't really care. Um, in the sense that it has nothing to do with what I talk about online and what I talk about on shows. But it just demonstrates to me the inherent problems within the college football, NCAA, Division One football. So that's you know that's that's how the cookie crumbles, so to speak. But we also talked NFL, and we talked about, I don't know, I think it was week 14 at the time. And so week 14 of what was happening in the NFL. I don't want to go too far into that. I want to leave people to discover that and to find out about it and to look at the show itself. Again, mostly I'm there to talk football. I'm there to talk NFL. But what's interesting, I'll bring this up. Uh, Dion, I think, is looking for a job. He's a young man and he's trying to get a full time job. I don't know if you mentioned this, but I think he mentioned on the air on the show, and he's trying to get a full time job. And he's also trying to monetize on YouTube. And I think that's one of the reasons that he wanted me back on his show, because he said my previous interview, I got I got something like over 500 views, or the interview got over 500 views, close to 600 views, over a period of I think like 3 or 4 weeks. It just kept growing, and so that's the kind of thing that I like in regards to doing interviews on YouTube shows and on YouTube channels. In fact, my policy nowadays is I really only go on YouTube to be interviewed. I really don't go on YouTube um, to do anything else. I really don't go on panels. Sometimes I'm in a chat if it's interesting, so that'll happen sometimes. But I generally just don't go on panels. If I go on a panel, I have to promote something. That's just been my policy now in 2025 in regards to YouTube. So for me, if I go on a show, I'm being interviewed, it's to do an interview on YouTube. And that's kind of what I'm looking for in terms of doing interviews. I like an interview that grows. I like where the numbers grow, where the data grows. Now he's interested in being monetized, so he's into watch hours. That doesn't concern me because I don't care about being monetized. But So because I got him X amount of watch hours, I forget how many, he wanted me back on the show, and we did. I haven't taken a look at the numbers for the new Positivity is the Way to Go interview. I know the last time I checked it, it got over, I think it was over 100, maybe 150 or something like that. I can't recall the exact numbers. So we'll see if that has legs and that grows. But that's the sort of thing I'm looking for when I go on a YouTube channel and I do an interview. I want the numbers to grow. I want them to get older. I want them to, you know, I want them to sort of continue at a rate. What happens when you get interviewed on a YouTube channel, and I do interviews for promotional reasons and marketing reasons. I stopped doing interviews just to do interviews, which I used to. I used to enjoy going on shows just to be interviewed. That's one of the reasons that I did Outro. So why this show has come into existence. But I stopped doing that because I have my Substack newsletters I've got to promote. I got my podcast I've got to promote. I've got so much. I even have to promote this YouTube channel, which I haven't really done a lot of, to be honest. I'll be frankly honest. I really haven't gone on my way to promote this channel over the 3 years that I've had it. Initially, I did a slate of interviews on shows. I did a tour, was it a media tour promoting this channel at the beginning, like 3 years ago. But since then, not really. And so I've gone back to promoting it when I can and promoting a little because I have so much stuff to promote. But in any event, it was a good interview. It was kind of awkward because I think his his phone ran out. He was, I guess, doing it on his phone, and his battery ran down. So he disappeared, which is interesting. Seeing that recording, that lettering of recording, like slowly dissipate. So it was interesting to see that, and I was kind of left talking like I'm talking now. So I just, mentioned my newsletters and mentioned all that, and I just tapped out and ended the interview that way. I guess having been interviewed on shows for 15 years, it's something that I never happened to me. Somebody in the chat saying, "Are you one of the PhD guys?" No, I only have a bachelor's degree. I only have a humble BA. I don't know why they're asking me about a PhD. Oh, it's because of this? No, that's just my bachelor's degree. No, sorry. I don't think I ever had anybody ask me that. Someone in the chat, if you're watching this later, someone in the chat was asking me, am I one of the, what did they say? You one of them PhD guys? Verbatim, that's what he said. And no, I'm not. I didn't go to grad school. I just went to undergraduate. Just so you know. I like to do parody. When I'm bored, sometimes I create parody songs. And one of the songs I do is from Grease. Instead of beauty school dropout, it's graduate school dropout. But no, I'm not. I don't have a PhD. I only have a BA degree. So moving on, we were talking about the economy, and it was interesting. Again, Dion Davis, the host of Positivity's Way to Go, trying to get a job, a full-time job. And I told him, yeah, it's a bad economy. People are having a hard time getting jobs. Well, I'm retired. Somebody's mentioned PhD. I'm retired. So I'm a bit too old to go back to grad school to get a PhD. And nor do I want to. Yeah. I wouldn't mind getting another bachelor's, though. That would be fun, but not trying to get a PhD. No interest to me. But in any event, it was an interesting. It was a more interesting. I think it was a little bit more of a diverse episode than the previous one. So yeah, go and check out Positivity is the Way to Go on the Dion Davis channel on YouTube. That's DEON Davis channel on YouTube. Dion Davis channel. The name of the show, Positivity is the Way to Go. The name of the host, Dion Davis. And the name of his guest, Yours truly, Albert Lanier. And this has been on the Writer Albert Lanier channel, Outro, the show about shows, the show dealing with shows, now the show that is now showing you the exit. Bye, folks. See you later.